Well, folks, once again, this is Rick Moore, co-founder of BidPoint and powered by Avion Energy. We're excited to have my business partner, Mike Healy, on the phone. He's had tremendous success in the marketing of commercial energy in the past, primarily in the state of Ohio. Our business plan is real simple. It's to take what Mike did in Ohio over a couple of years, whatever I've done in Texas and Georgia over a couple of years and other places, and take that to the entire deregulated marketplace because of the power of the Direct Connect portal and the leverage that gives us with Avion Energy. So real simple, that's what it's about. You know, Mike, I won't steal the thunder of what all the numbers turned into because I know that's part of what you're going to talk about today. We'll probably go back and forth a little bit, but if you would, talk about what we use for our main exposure tool, where people can find it, and kind of what they should do with it, if you would.
Can do. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. And first off, again, thank you, everybody, taking time out of their busy schedules to be on the call. Hopefully, usually we get these recorded and we'll have them posted up there so you can review it and listen to it a few times. Well, I had my history is I've been in like the sales and marketing for probably about 20 years, and done very very well at it. But I've studied trends. I've studied best practices, I guess you could say, different techniques and things that have worked for not only myself but other people, and tried to model what I'd watched work and kind of put together some things that have proven out to be extremely successful for not only myself but for other people as they use them. Now, before I give you the actual tool, I think it's important just to understand this call is primarily based around building teams, basically inviting other people to become part of the, becoming agents of BidPoint, because we obviously, and you'll notice in our commission structure that we offer overrides off of the commissions off of the work other people do. And if you're not familiar with that's kind of basically called leverage. J. Paul Getty said he'd rather have, one of the wealthiest people in the world said, rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. And there's two ways I think I've always heard that wealth is created. It's either money at work or people at work. And, you just become leveraged by the, you have that ability with BidPoint to not only get paid on what you do, but get paid on the efforts of other people. Okay, so that's just the simple synopsis of what we're trying to accomplish. Because if you could override, a handful of people that are submitting energy counts on a regular basis, and you build up a team, that's going to supplement what you're personally doing on your own, and it also opens doors that you myself would not have been able to get into and in front of previously. Okay, so that's kind of the biggest point here. Now, the other thing too is I believe that if you learn to keep this as simple as possible, your results will go much faster. You'll exponentially grow quicker due to the fact that there's only a few things. There's some basic core tasks, what I like to say, that you have to really become competent with. And, if you do the same thing over and over again, that you can get better at it. Those two core tasks are basically introducing people that want to be customers, that you're trying to get, as customers, which we train you on the 8-second question, that's very, very simple. And then the other aspect, if you choose to do so, which is the ability to introduce people to the opportunity of becoming BidPoint agents as well. Okay. Now, the thing that I think is very important, if you want to take a note on this, maybe just jot some stuff down on a piece of paper, is that I've learned over the past of all the years that I've been involved in business that I only focus on what I can control, not what I can't control. And I think that's really, really important before I get into this, is that typically you can't, you can't, I guess, look into the future to figure out if somebody wants to be an agent or they don't, okay? So if that's the case, then what you want to do, or what I've learned to do, is I've also learned to be the messenger and not the message. And I think this is important. I'm glad I just remembered this part, becoming the messenger, not the message, is that we have a very, very strong message. The opportunity to get paid on commercial energy accounts makes sense for most people. If you're new or you just really don't necessarily know how to share that with somebody, a lot of times that's where the hang-up is in introducing people to come aboard with your team. Is a lot of times you try to tell the whole story ahead of time where maybe you don't have experience in this field or so on, And that's where I believe the tools that we've developed is what really separates you, it gives you the ability to go out and actually work this thing and have better success, okay? Because I believe that if we have systems in place, which I'm saying tools are what I call systems, systems are the leverage that turn ordinary people into extraordinary performers. Because a system is something that can be replicated. It's something that can be done over and over and over and over, okay? Now, the system that I developed years ago that really resulted in some significant things, I was also, the thing that I liked about what I put together, and I'm going to share it with you, was that I had statistical data to back up everything that I was doing. What I mean by that is I had the ability and have the ability to track website hits and video views and everything, every step of the system that I'd put together. And so what I did is I tracked that, and I realized that typically the most important thing that I saw that created the best success for people that were building teams was using the very first, what we would call, exposure tool. Okay, so now let me get to what Rick originally introduced me to say. Is a few years back, I created an audio. I scripted it out myself. I basically wrote the script based on some training that I'd gone through over the years of what people were looking for that briefly explained it. Predominantly, it was originally just as a recorded conference call, okay? Now, that same recorded call is actually, the number for that to listen to the call is actually on the BidPoint.co website. On the right-hand side at the top, you can see it says, recorded message. That's exactly the audio that I'm talking about. Because some people like to still listen to the phone. They have no problem, just hearing words or hearing stuff, hearing people talk, and they get a lot of information out of that. That call, what's nice about that is if somebody dials in on that, I get a report. We get a report at BidPoint that allows me to hear or allows me to see how long someone has listened to that message. Now, the message is about 10 minutes long, but the incredible thing is, over the years that I've used this exact same message that thousands of people have listened to, it literally has about an 85 to 90% full listen-through rate, which is pretty much a home run. If you can have a marketing piece that the majority of people that listen to it listen to the entire thing, that's spectacular, okay? So knowing that tool worked, what I did is I created and it's a generic thing too, by the way, so it's just the only purpose of it is to get somebody to open their mind to the potential and possibility of being involved in the commercial energy space. That's all it really is used for. Now, I created it. What I did is I took the audio and the script of that, and I made a video. Now, the video it's not the most super professional thing, but that was on purpose. It's basically my voice, doing the talking and basically just being a normal person. Because a lot of times you can intimidate people that they'll probably say no before they get all of the information due to the fact that it seems like it's too hard. If something seems hard, it might not be worth doing, okay? Because a lot of times when you're introducing people to do this as a business, they're probably only going to ask themselves, or we found this to be true, people will ask themselves two main questions. Can I do it, and is it worth doing? Maybe in reverse. Is it worth doing, and can I do it? The potential here, though, is what's nice is this video, which is, let me give you where it's located, is on a generic link, standalone by itself. There's nothing else on there. There's no buttons. There's no text, nothing. It's just the video by itself. Is at promoterswanted.com, promoterswanted.com. And if you send somebody there, they can watch the video. You can text somebody that video link. You could say, hey, I'm not sure if you'd be interested in this, but something like this. I've signed up I don't know how many people by just sending simple text because people are used to texting these days. I would send a text that said something like, hey, Joe, this is Mike. I'm not sure if you've ever seen this before, but I found it pretty interesting. Take a look at this video when you get a second. And boom, I just send that to the next person. I've taken that and I've copied and pasted and just text it to the next person, and send out a handful of people a day. If you think of all the people that are in your circle of influence or on your phone to begin with, it's a very, very simple strategy to introduce people to the potential of what we're doing here. And again, you can't control whether they say yes or no, but you can only control if you introduce people to that. Now, let me kind of go on to this, and then maybe I'll slow down and let Rick ask me questions or whatever. Over the period of time that I've had that video going, I've noticed that basically, at one time I tracked this last year when I was using it for another project in energy, and there was over 30,000 views on the first video. And then let me go to the second part of this, is I then introduced people using typically what we would call a piece of content to kind of the ones that were interested that wanted maybe more information, okay? And what I saw was that if I had 30,000 people hit the first video, it was like 35,300 something. And then the next thing that I had was either was a link or a video that I used. That one had about 30,000. I think it was about 20-some thousand. And then the final video was the full overview of what the offer was. It was the full video overview, the webinar that we did, the 19-minute thing. And if I track those numbers out, I see that if I can get people in the beginning to just view this, the numbers typically always work out. If I have a handful of people to look at the first video, a handful of them are going to say, yeah, it makes sense. What else do you got? They take a look at some of the social proof stuff that I have, and typically what I'm using for the second step is the videos page or testimonials or maybe even one of the blog post links from BidPoint.co. Okay, so somebody might say, well, how does it actually work? Well, we've got a blog link, that you can go in there. You can look at the link, you go look at the article and you copy and paste the link and send it to them. And they can scroll through and see exactly how the customer submission process works. It makes sense. And then maybe, then you send them to your .net site, and that's where they get a full understanding of this. So what I understood and what I've taught over the years to do was, not try to be the messenger, but just the message. Introduce people to a simple tool, simple message that just piqued their interest. And then I dripped on them a couple pieces of content that allowed them to make their own decision if this was something that they were interested in or not. And I just worked the numbers, and I've always taught that, and it has never, ever failed to produce significant results. And that's exactly how we're building BidPoint. That's why BidPoint is growing the way it is we get people to become competent in some core tasks, introduce people to become part of the energy, agency, and then get customers, basically using the 8-second question. And, if you can find people to do that, pretty much the sky's the limit. Because what we have set up with the ability that, to submit these customers to Avion and what they can do on their end with the patent pending portal, I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer. So it's a very simple process of introducing people. You use promoterswanted.com. Let's see, some people watch that. If you think that they'd rather listen to the call, then you can just copy it off the website at the BidPoint.co website. It's on the top right, and send that to them. Either one would work. I'm just a visual guy myself, so that's why I put a video together for it. And all that makes sense. And then you can send a couple blog posts to somebody, and you're good to go. So it's real simple, and it's worked for a long time. We've put thousands of customers on board using that platform, and I think we're going to do the exact same probably. By a big portion, we're going to get this thing rocking and rolling. So it's exciting that we've already got people that have used it and are already, enrolling people into the business. So, Rick, if I haven't covered anything, I think I talked pretty fast. You can throw out some questions or anything like that. I told you I was going to give you a chance to say anything, but I don't think I did. So,
no, we're good. We're good. I mean, one of the things, when we talked at the very beginning, and one thing for everybody to understand is that this has all been planning in the planning stages and in the works for several years. And it's funny because I knew what Avion had going on. I knew what Mike and Monty had going on the other side. I was kind of the person in the middle of it, and it's all just kind of come together at the right time. But, Mike, if I understand you correctly, you lead with Promoters Wanted when somebody wants some more information, that's the purpose of BidPoint.co, and you can send them the videos or training, whatever they want to look at. And all of this content that we're developing is turning into quite a library, right? And so is that kind of how you work it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just what it really does is you're piquing someone's interest, then you're confirming what you just talked about by using the content, the articles, the testimonies, the videos. So there's lots of stuff to choose from. It's a nice buffet. That's what I like the blog site. It's kind of the buffet because every day we'll get somebody to ask maybe a different question. And in a lot of cases, and the majority of people ask the same questions over and over, and we want to be able to make it to where you don't have to know anything, but you could use a tool. That's the one thing that I learned was leverage also could be created through tools, not just people, but tools create leverage. And, as an example, instead of me driving, 50 miles to go meet with somebody sometime to find out if they're even interested in sitting down and having coffee and doing energy, I could send them a video that piques their interest. And if they say, yeah, then I know I'm going in. I'm not going into something cold. It does that. So it's just, you pique their interest, you confirm basically the information that they just showed, and then you get a commitment is really what the decision is on, using that video at the very bottom of the .net site, which is the full 19-minute webinar that we did. So it's literally just pique your interest, get some information to confirm it, and then you just get it right through the process. I mean, it's really about 3 steps that you're really working somebody to do. And then a lot of times we put people on conference calls. That's why we did these calls, so people can get some of their questions answered here as well. And we build up the library by keep doing more and more of them. So yes,
right, so
that was a long-winded answer to your question.
So it sounds like 3 steps. So it's basically promoters wanted, BidPoint.co to get the questions answered, maybe a telephone call with somebody connected to the company to hear more information, and then the last step is just go to their individual BidPoint.net site and they're done, right? And that's pretty much it.
That's it.
Right.
Get a commitment, get a confirmation that they want to do this thing, and then you're there, and then you just repeat the process. I mean, it's literally as soon as someone signs up, they're basically get the directions to go straight to the BidPoint.co training site tab, and they go through. We explain all that to them and show them the tools, and they're all sitting there and repeat the process. I mean, it's really how simple it is.
Yep, I know there's communication right away when they join. Go here, do this, do that. It's all right spelled out on that intro email that they get when they enroll. Correct?
Absolutely. Yep, it's all laid out right there for them as soon as they join.
One other thing, I think the two to me most tightened up and brilliant parts of the process, the promoters wanted video, and then what you say to a customer, that 8-second question, what you say to a customer, where did that come from, and how has that worked in the past, and obviously it's working currently too, but let's talk about the 8-second question real quick while we're talking about automating a process.
It came from I just basically creating systems. Like I said, systems with leverage to turn ordinary people into extraordinary performers. And I was finding that I had people that liked the idea of energy, but we were saying, oh yeah, if you just go get the bills, you're good to go. Well, a lot of them were trying to contact people or people they knew, and they were just kind of tripping over their feet because we hadn't put anything together that helped them get the business owner to hand in the bill. So I decided that I would write a script for it, and I was like, well, what are we really doing here? What's the main thing? We're trying to help the business owner, which I'm sure they would love to have, because they're probably getting overcharged in that area. And most of the time, or in every case, we do this for free. I mean, who wouldn't want that? So using the words overcharged and free, I put an 8-second question together, which says, and then I taught people, and this is what we always teach because it's this simple, is you're in our program typically works the best if somebody already has an existing relationship. We're probably not going to, really emphasize cold calling or things like that because there's corporations that do that. But we have the ability with relationships to get our foot in the door much faster. So the story was, you're having pizza at the pizza place that you frequent every weekend with your family. You've been going there for years, and the owner comes out, says, "How you doing? What's going on?" And da 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 da. It's the by the way question as you're getting ready to leave. You say, "Oh, Joe, hey, oh by the way, listen, I don't know if I could help you or not, but if you give me a copy of last month's utility bills, I can have them analyzed for free to see if you're being overcharged. It's literally that simple. It's however you would phrase that, but that's, if somebody memorizes that 8-second question. In fact, that's what I did, is I hammered home the 2 core tasks, right? Introduce people by introducing the BidPoint or promoterswarners.com, and then having people learn that 8-second question. That got people to do the right activity. The right activity is just asking that question, because again, you can't control if somebody's going to give you your bills or not. So I just tried to make sure people understood that if they just used that. So it really just came out of 2 simple words, free and overcharged, putting a phrase together that I thought everybody could memorize and making it that simple. And that at least opened the dialogue. Even if the business owner had more questions, it at least gave somebody the ability to open and get their foot in the door to create a better dialogue. And then, if somebody wanted more details, we can always, help them with that. We have, if somebody wanted to see the whole process before we did it, we have that. It's energybestpricing.com. We have a standalone video that a guy getting a customer could do too. So use the 8-second question. If the business owners are hesitant, say, well, I'll show you exactly what's going to happen. And you can send them to energybestpricing.com, and they watch that little video that explains the exact process that they're bidding, the bidding process and everything goes through. And that's just, so it's a kind of a slam dunk on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what you put together, and I guess the great news is, we're early in the game here. We're just a little bit over a month in, and people are just starting to grab hold of what's happening. We're really gaining momentum in terms of energy acquisition and customers coming in and stuff's happening, and it's just so simple. It's promote as wanted. It's the 8-second question. I don't really know of anything else you really have to know, right?
Not really.
Yeah, I mean, what you have to have is a relationship, because we're in a relationship business. Avion takes care of best pricing, and and just so everybody understands the structure of what's happening here. Tuesdays are about team building, and Thursdays are about energy customer acquisition, and those are the 2 things that we do. And so, Mike, just want to thank you for giving us your input today and showing us how simplicity can scale. And in a lot of business opportunity, it takes thousands of people to earn a significant income. I mean, I believe people can earn a very significant income here. I'll see how you feel about it, with a couple dozen people. Wouldn't you say so?
Totally agreed, and I've already seen it happen. I've literally seen people submit things. I've seen people submit accounts that, and you've seen it too, that the energy, the supply that they're getting paid a portion off of is like, what some people earn annually in jobs on single accounts. I mean, it's just amazing what's out there. I always jokingly say it's like an adult Easter egg hunt. Sometimes you're going to get the little marshmallow chick, and other times you're going to get the big chocolate bunny, but it's definitely worth the hunt.
Well, you've simplified it again, the adult Easter egg hunt. I love it.
That's it.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for being on the call today, especially thank Mike Healy for his insight and his expertise. And, that's what's available here at BidPoint. There's a collection of people that know what they're doing, and you can leverage us while we leverage the system of Avion Energy. It's a win-win-win situation. So I want to thank you again, Mike, for being on the call. Thank everybody else.
Thanks, Rick.
Have an awesome day and an awesome week. Bye, everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Rick. Bye.